Should I say who asked those questions? No, I guess not. Hello everyone and welcome back to my blog and channel, The Art of Getting Lost. For the season finale, I asked you on my Instagram to send me some questions related to my travel, my creative process, and how I've dealt and I deal with this whole journey. And for this video, I'm gonna answer some of your questions. Let's get into it. The first question is, did you plan all your trips by yourself or do you use someone else's itinerary? Well, actually, kind of both. I usually do some research before traveling, not because I feel the need to know everything about every place, but just because I simply enjoy knowing more about the place, searching about the history, the culture, and to kind of filter what I want to see and what I want to do. However, I always end up changing my plans and joining someone else's plans or doing something completely different. So I know this plan is not something that I want to keep to the letter. It's more to have an idea that always ends up being changed, which is fine. The second question is, how do you meet people in your solo trips? I might go crazy if I'm on my own too long. That's actually a very, very fair point. I think that's the most common fear, is to be on your own, but it's also probably the biggest reward because that's when you actually learn stuff about yourself. However, and to answer the question, I often struggle to be by myself during those solo trips because I always end up so many people doing tours, mostly in hostels, in restaurants and bars, going out. It's actually kind of crazy how many people are also traveling solo and how easy it is to get to know each other. So I actually sometimes have to sort of force myself to be on my own because it's so easy to get caught up in this whole adventure and just tag along with other people. And I always make an effort to have my own me time and just do some things by myself to remind myself that I'm actually doing a solo trip. The next question is, would you recommend me to do solo traveling as a woman? Well, I hate to break it down to you, but not a woman. Seriously, in my sort of privileged position as a man, I think it's still fine to travel as a woman. I think there might be some dangers that men often don't feel, but I think it's still in general really safe. And to be honest, I think I've met more women solo travelers than men, especially in this backpacking culture. And if you stick to the, I would say, normal, I hate this word. If you stick to the backpacker itineraries, you'll meet plenty of other women who are traveling by themselves, and most of them don't really have any bad stories or bad experiences. So if you feel like it would be too much to go on a huge trip around the world, just start with something small, visit a country or a city nearby, and you'll get comfortable with time. The next question is, how do you deal with goodbyes so often? It never gets easier, but the opposite. It's actually a very, very good point. Well, to be honest, I hate saying goodbye to people, but with time I've also realized that the reason why I have so much fun and I bond in such a special way with these people is because we know we have limited time in a very specific place, and that we'll probably never have that chance again, so we make the most out of it. I would say goodbyes or something ending gives meaning to its existence. So, it wasn't meant to it wasn't meant to sound that deep, but it's actually kind of true. I think it's sort of easy to keep in touch with social media, and it's an amazing feeling when you actually keep in touch with people I meet traveling, and we actually meet in another place after 1, 2, 3 years. It's such a cool feeling. I live for that kind of stuff. Most embarrassing experience during a solo trip. I'm not sure if I can think of one single experience. What I will say though is that I think after so many experiences, my standard of feeling embarrassed is a very weird one because so much stuff has happened. Like, people sleeping in my bed, or we mixing up the beds, or going to the toilet and having to ask someone for toilet paper, or lots of situations where the meaning of a conversation got lost in translation and then we end up being like, So I guess, I'm not sure if I can come up with one situation, but that's probably something I can tell you another time. Who knows? Alright, next one. Do we get lost to find ourselves, or do we get lost to escape from ourselves? Damn. Y'all are deep. So I think I could go on and on about this topic, and I could do a whole podcast about it, but I'll try to keep it short. I'm actually not sure if this is a neither or situation. I mean, if you follow this blog, or if you haven't yet, please go check out my other posts. The whole point of this blog is not about finding answers, but more about being comfortable with asking and having questions all the time. I know that my experiences most of the time don't bring definitive answers to my questions, but they bring me closer to an answer that I feel comfortable with. Does that make sense? Probably not. But to answer the question, I think I don't believe in finding ourselves through traveling, but I think we get closer to what we are when we are away from our normal setting. I think our surroundings, our routine, the things we are used to, our comfort zone sort of hinders us at some point. And when we escape from that reality, not as in escaping from ourselves, but escaping from that reality, that gives us access to parts of ourselves that we weren't really aware of, or that we didn't know at all. It's sort of like taking drugs. Not that I know that, I've heard. People told me. And the final question is, what's your top 5 on the road songs? Ooh, that's hard. That's really hard. First of all, I have to say that most of the times I listen to what's saved on my phone. So, but maybe I can give you some albums, because usually I have lots of time while traveling, so I listen to the whole album. Right on top of my mind, I would say Built on Glass by Chet Faker is always a must when I'm traveling. I have a whole playlist on Joy Crooks. It's not really an album, but I just listen to lots of songs by her because I like the vibe when traveling. I would say anything by Milky Chance. I like the Trip Tape album, but I listen to all of them, so. Then I would say, lately, I would say Subida Infinita by Capitão Fausto, and probably Elige Tu Propia Aventura by Carolina Durante, and then anything by Beyonce. That's it for today. If I haven't answered your question, I'm so sorry, but time is a scarce resource. I promise we'll do another Q&A later. This is also the closing of this season of posts. I enjoyed having you guys so much as a reader or as watchers of my videos. I hope you enjoyed it too. Please feel free to give feedback to my content. I really appreciate when you guys reach out. And go follow my Instagram, my Substack, and everything else. There's nothing else. Everything else. And I hope to see you soon for another season. Bye!